What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Relaxing Thoughts Podcast. I am your host, Digital Relaxation, and we are back again with another one. And as always, if you guys like this podcast, you like what you hear, maybe you know someone who's into the podcast, be sure to share it, man. Spread the wealth out here. But yeah, we are here with another episode. I'm not gonna keep promising if these gonna be short or long or not, because that last episode was probably the shortest episode I ever did, and I didn't think it would be that short, to be honest. So yeah, things happen. But moving on, as always, what have I been up to since my last episode? Well, I kind of wanted to talk about this last episode, but it slipped my mind. I don't know. Everything just came out at once on that last episode, so I had time to really think about what it is I had to say, I guess. I don't know. So, I mentioned this like probably 2 or 3 episodes ago. Like, it wasn't even out yet when I mentioned this, but the Wu-Tang series that's streaming on Hulu. Last time I mentioned it wasn't even out yet, but we are now 6 episodes in, if I'm not mistaken. And loving it. Really loving it. First season was amazing. You can tell though, it feels like it's hard to explain. It's really hard to explain. It's like they're trying to keep the realism in there, but of course they're trying to, make it interesting for storytelling's sake. But it's like the first season compared to the second season, it's like, geez, how do I explain this? I feel like it was there, but I don't know how to explain it now. Like, so the first season, for those who haven't seen it or whatever, I'm not going to try to spoil anything. I'm just going to talk about the overall summary. The first season is about RZA, aka Bobby, his real name, in the story. This is the first season about the story of how his solo career began at first, before forming the Wu-Tang, and they got to a storyline towards the ending that was not real, but it was like they knew how unreal it was. So by the time they got to the second season, they completely just glossed over what happened. Like, they just made like a simple excuse as to why that story is not continuing, and it was like, oh, okay, so we're just gonna forget about that. So I don't know, it's like they realized that they needed to tell the Wu-Tang story more, cause now that they're dealing with the actual entire Wu-Tang, because in the first season some of them was actually missing, and now we're actually dealing with like the entire Wu-Tang. So it's not like we ain't got time to do all these side stories that we was doing in the first season. Like, on the first season, like, almost everybody got like solo episodes, backstories of how they came to be and what led them to music or the situation in life. And this story is like, all right, with Wu-Tang, we gotta do this. And yeah, so all that side stuff is kind of going out the door. They only gave us like 2, probably the first 2 episodes at most was side story stuff, but everything just been Wu-Tang stuff from there on. I know a lot of people have mixed feelings about the guy who plays RZA in this season. He changed his voice style from the first season, and the funny thing is that because in the first season, Joey Badass played Inspector Deck, and if you know anything about how Joey Badass sound and how this guy sound, they kind of actually sound the same when speaking. So I felt like maybe that was going to be the reason why he changed his voice, but in the second season, they recast Inspector Deck with another guy, because Joey Badass is, I believe he's playing a role in Power. So I get it, but it was like from the start, I already, like, when I saw like the trailers and the teasers of how they had him sounding, like he sounds like like one of those old school karate badly dubbed films, like when the guy was trying to dub in English and they try to make themselves sound like all robotic and wise. It's weird. So that's how he's kind of sounding in this season, and I don't know, like I'm pretty sure that was like a thing that he was told to do, being that that's their upbringing, like they've been growing up on kung fu flicks and shit. So I get it, but at the same time it's like like it sounds like he takes you out of it. Like everyone sound like they from the street, they from the hood. Everyone know they got their style, their slang, their accent, how they speak, and then this dude just come out of nowhere, sound like a straight up instructor, like some wise man. Like, yeah, we need to do this and do that and Wu-Tang. Yeah, I'm like, bro, why you talk like that? So I don't know. Overall story, I'm loving it. Fun fact, actually, the first season, I always knew about Wu-Tang growing up. I always heard some of their music, other members' music growing up, but I never listened to any of their albums prior to the show. So after watching the first show, I listened to the 36 Chambers and got hooked on that album. That album was amazing. So now that the second season is basically showing how they make that album, so I'm just like loving like watching the creating process. Like one episode was showing like how RZA was forming a beat and like how he breaking the sample down, and they were showing like an interesting way of how he was doing it by not by just showing him behind the keyboard and just mixing stuff. Like they actually showing him like orchestrating the whole situation in real time with like real people and trying to like manipulate them to do what he wants them to do and whatnot. Like it's amazing. But there's that. I'm assuming, I don't know how this show, like I don't know what's the end goal of the show is. Cause in theory, depending on how the show ends, this can technically be the last season, because I don't know if this show is just about how Wu-Tang came to be and it's one of those, well, the rest is history, now we know what happens, or are they actually gonna go further with like the Wu-Tang story and like, all right, we made our first album, and then after that they started doing solo projects, and then they finally got together for the second Wu-Tang album. So I don't know if they do another season, where that's gonna cover. They're gonna cover the solo albums, or is that gonna go up to Wu-Tang forever? I don't know. So interesting. I don't know that technical end goal to this show, but I'm along for the ride. I'm enjoying it. I don't really watch a lot of live action stuff, so it's like when I do find it and like it'd be good, I'd be enjoying it a lot. But aside from that, I'm kind of watching anime. I'm casually watching the anime. It's nothing serious. It's just something to watch. Nothing to really give an in-depth review about right now. It just seems like a simple story. I'm just watching it, relaxing. Reading manga. I'm just like piling up on a lot of manga to read. I want to start collecting soon, so I'm trying to like find ones that I want to actually collect and read them like in person. So I'm doing that. I started to finally start a new, not so much a new, but rebrand a series on my YouTube channel. So a lot of people who most likely don't know, but on my YouTube channel, I originally started the Relaxing Thoughts title on my YouTube. It was originally a video game Q&A podcast type thing on my YouTube channel, where I would have a guest like every episode, and we would play a game together, and I would ask them questions about video games, and then I'll ask them about some personal life questions, or not personal, but like just their life questions and whatnot, and then that would mainly be it. But then I started the Relaxing Thoughts podcast, and as I grew from changing how my podcast was structured, which originally it was just gonna be kind of like an offspring of that. Like, I'm gonna talk about video games, anime, the stuff that I'm talking about now, and then that would mainly be it. And then sometimes I would try to talk about life stuff, but I wasn't really confident in what to talk about. But yeah, so as time got along, I changed it up to now when I talk about anime and video games and all that, it's mainly the what I've been up to section. So if I'm playing something new, if I'm watching something new, then I'll talk about it. But the main overall point of the topic, of the podcast now is to live up to the name and talk about my thoughts and try to like keep a positive outlook of these situations and things that's going on. A lot of people, I talked about it in the previous episode, but I know a lot of people still want me to talk about like the vaccine and all of that. I know they making it a mandate in New York, which is going crazy. People in New York is protesting, as they should. Like I said, I said in the last episode, the last time I talked about it, when they had that Juvenile song promoting Vax that thing up, that I don't like that it needs to be pushed and shoved down our throats. I think everything should be a choice. Everything should be properly promoted. Like, when the flu has been around for how long, and the cases of people who have gotten ill or possibly passed away from it and whatnot, but they advertise like flu season like once or twice a year. Like, they were like, oh, it's flu season, make sure you get your shot. Or like at my job, they would have like posters. The job is like, hey, we offer flu shots at the job if you guys want, or whatever, like stuff like that. It's just like, hey, just a reminder that this is the flu still thing. If you want the shot, take it. That's it. COVID is a thing. If you want the vaccine, take it. But it's like all of the extra agenda and the side stuff and the code words that they're using to like ostracize people and whatnot. Like, oh, I ain't watched the full interview, but just like watching like the title of it and the first sentence that she said, like, oh, like by taking the vaccine, you're like listening to God. And I'm like, what? Like, you're bringing religion into this? Then it's just, and then like I said, code word, like that sounds normal, but then taken to a deeper thing, it's like, so you're saying that for people who do take the vaccine shot, we're following God, but the people who don't are following the devil? Are you saying that we're wicked people, that we're evil? I don't understand the message you're trying to say here. So it's like, y'all not really being slick about how y'all go about just saying, hey, there's an option for a better survival chance for you getting COVID. That's it. Like, y'all shouldn't have to like, hey, if you don't do this, well, your life is over. Hey, if you don't do this, then you're just an evil person. And we all know where that came from in history. I mean, several times in history. So it's like damn near, it's just constantly repeating itself. Like, there's always gonna be something that's going to divide and conquer type situation. I mean, I'm not gonna bring up the examples, but yeah, I've been paying attention in history class and whatnot. You sure already know a few examples of why this just seems wrong. But like I said, I'm not here to say whether you should take it or not. Like I said, I know people who took it. I know family members who took it. I know people who haven't took it. Stories of people who have took it and something wrong what happened to them. People who have took it and nothing has happened to them. So there's a lot of stories. I think the body is just different for everybody. People are gonna react to things differently. Just saying, like, people have allergic reactions to things. Like, it's not fair that one person can eat one thing and the next person can eat another. Like me and my brother, for example, growing up, he's allergic to shellfish, so he can't eat like shrimps, crabs, and stuff like that, anything with a shell. And for me, I can, but also fortunately for me, that's actually one of like my favorite dishes, like shellfish and stuff like that. Like, it's one of my favorite things to eat. So imagine me having my taste, but having his situation, like, and it's like, and even now he grew up to a point where he doesn't even like, even if he wasn't allergic, he got to a point where it's like he doesn't eat that regardless. But it's like, the point is that what if he wasn't allergic and I was? It's like, oh, he has the option to eat this whenever he wants, but I can't, and I love it. So it's like, the body is different. Life is unfair. People have different circumstances in life, but it's a matter of how you move through it. So it's like, not everyone's gonna be fine and dandy when they get the vaccine. Not everybody's gonna be ill and sick when they get the vaccine. Like, even just taking the vaccine, there's been multiple stories of, oh, the second one is what really put people out, or it's the first one that put people out, or none of them has put them out. And it's like I said, the body is different. So I mean, everything is a gamble when you take something that's new and different. It's just a matter that you should be the one who's making that choice to take that gamble. Like, that's your life. You should control how you should go about it. Yeah, that's mainly what I want to say about that situation. All right, so going in. Oh, actually, I still got more to talk about with what I've been up to. All right, so yeah, I was still talking about my YouTube video. I don't know how I got the vaccine, but yeah, so I rebranded the Relaxing Thoughts thing on my YouTube channel to be a more like an ASMR type deal, where it's kind of like I do positive affirmations. Basically, living up to the name. I'm trying to give people relaxing thoughts in a relaxing manner, and that's mainly it. So I'm working on that. It's different for me, being someone who kind of like always followed the ASMR, and I always want to try it, but it's like, it's one of those things, like, things you just gotta try, because you like, usually you've been afraid. Like I said, like growing up, I was never really a public speaker or whatnot, but hey, I had to pick up rapping, which I'm gonna get into in a moment. The first time I actually performed in front of people was at a block party. Like, even then, like, even though I wasn't like, it was my first time performing, I didn't know the performing etiquette. Like, people like, oh, we can't really hear you, got speaker. I'm like, oh damn, like I don't know how this works. But it's the fact that I had to take that chance, like, God forbid, oh, not God willing, like, if I blew up from rapping, I gotta get comfortable with performing now. So it's things like, if I'm gonna do something, I gotta start making myself comfortable with like what I'm about. So like, constantly branding myself as digital relaxation and relaxing thoughts and whatnot, but not going the full length to do the relaxation part. It's like, all right, I think I should start. I've been quite participant in listening and watching ASMR videos and whatnot, that I should be able to put my little spin off on it as well. And yeah, so that's what I've been doing with that. I only got one video. I already have the second video written, so I'm gonna do that one too. And yeah, I got just a side note, I got like a love-hate relationship with TikTok. It's not so much a hate anymore, but it's like, TikTok for me, I compared it as like, it's the social media of Minecraft for me. Like, when Minecraft first came out, I didn't understand it. I didn't like it. I didn't understand how people can enjoy playing with, like, we have games like with all these dope graphics and game mechanics, and people just over here obsessed with blocks. I didn't understand it until I, played it, and then I got addicted to it and whatnot. So TikTok, it was the same thing. It was like, oh, we have all these social media platforms, people doing things, and then it's like, oh, here comes TikTok, and I'm just thinking like, oh, there's gonna be another Vine, another Snapchat. No, it's just gonna come in and go. People doing all these challenges, making songs that's not really that good pop up because they just don't dance to it. It's just like, I don't care about it. And then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna download TikTok. And then I was just like hooked on it. I'm just sitting there in my bed, like watching a bunch of TikToks. So I went from like, all right, I can kind of get it, but I'm just gonna sit here and just watch it. That's it. And now I'm actually uploading on TikTok, and this is where the love hate kind of comes in, because I upload like segments from like my podcast or my Twitch streams and whatnot, like hello highlights. And I am getting a lot of like, I'm not saying that like I'm not going viral, but I'm getting a lot of like plays and likes, and I'm like, bro, like if these numbers translated to the actual thing, like I'll be so like, that'd be it, man. I'd be happy as hell. Like basically, but all I'm trying to do is just like get people to listen to like those little segments and be like, oh, it sounds dope. Wonder like what else he says or where he goes from there, and then click on the podcast and hear the whole thing, and then hopefully get a new listener or whatnot. But yeah, so that's my like my little thing with TikTok. So because I posted that video about the my relaxing thoughts not the podcast, the series. It's titled You Are Not Alone, and I put it on YouTube, and it's like barely like anyone watched it. And then I put it on TikTok, and like hundreds of views, and I'm like, bro, like if that went to my YouTube channel, all right. So that's that. And speaking of my music, I am recording this podcast on the 4th. Yesterday, the 3rd, was my 10-year anniversary of my mixtape debut. I made my first mixtape and been going since to this day, 10 years later. And it's crazy. Like I don't know if I talked about this in my podcast, so I was talking about this with somebody. I don't remember. No, I think it was in my last, not the last, the one with where I had Dodge on it. Like I said, like if I had a successful rap career, like 10 years is a very, very, very long time for like an artist. Like just thinking of where people were 10 years from their projects. Like let's take Nas for example. He dropped Illmatic in 94. By the time 2004 happened, let me see if I can see where he was at. In 2004, he had an album called Street Decipher. So before that, he had God's Son, which a lot of people consider probably one of his best. Stillmatic, another one that people consider his best. He had It Was Written. So by the time, I want to say God's Son came out, because I remember that God's Son era, that's when we was already like considered him like, all right, he a legend. And this was 2002. So there was still 8 years from his career. Like we was already considering this man a legend, and everything after that was just, him just cementing his legacy. 2001, I believe, that's when we got Ether. That's when he beefed with Jay-Z. 2001, that definitely is what like solidified him as like, oh, okay, Nas is not to be messed with. And then he gave us Godson, and it's like, all right, it's solid now. He's legend, and it's only 8 years in his career. So it's like 10 years for me. Like, of course, I'm a nobody. No one really listens to my music like that. But it's a long time if I was like someone. But for me, it feels like it just went by quickly, just because I'm only doing this as like a little hobby and something that I'm just passionate about, and something I just enjoy doing. Like it just feels like it just went by like with the quickness. Like I got so many songs, so many projects that it's just like, yeah, craziness. But yeah, so I guess, I don't know, happy 10 years for me. I am still going to keep doing music. I already have a couple of projects planned. It's just a matter of hopefully getting them to happen. So that's that. But yeah, now that ends the about me section, or what I've been up to section. Give me a moment. So I was unsure about how I was gonna structure this. I didn't really know what I was gonna talk about. Like I said, I was hopefully trying to get a guest episode to happen, but things keep happening, so it is what it is. I keep trying to get one, but so I had to figure out a solo episode. So the topic, actually I got a topic from someone else, and then I actually end up kind of making one my own, and they both are kind of the same. I just don't know which one I should go with first so they can transition easily. So I don't know, it's hard to explain. So I'm just gonna, this might be backwards, but I'm just gonna still do it regardless. So the first topic is talking about finding yourself. Like a lot of this one is gonna be, because it's a lot to go with this one. So for people go through a lot of different journeys in life and whatnot, and people have different understandings of life and things. Like, there's those people who probably haven't really gone through much emotionally or mentally, and they just feel like there's no real hardship in their life for them to worry about, so they always felt like everything was figured out, everything is smoothly for them and going well. And then there's the people who get hit with things early in their life, and what it is that they thought to believe becomes shattered, and now they feel lost in themselves. And then going back to those people who didn't go through that early might go through that later, and that's when things can either become trouble for them or not, because it took them so long for them to get to the situation where they wasn't properly prepared on how to deal with things, and it can go wrong on both sides. Because one is like, oh, I wasn't, I'm still young, I don't understand how to deal with these feelings or these thoughts in my head, and it's like some people they just don't want to live with it no more. And then there's the people who things were going so fine in my life, and now that it's going bad, and it's I feel like my back is against the wall, I don't know what to do, I don't know where to go, and it's that's it. So the whole point is about finding yourself. People need to find themselves, find their paths. Mostly when it happens is during these dark times. A lot of people feel like they may have found themselves early so they can prevent the dark times, but sometimes it's those low moments that bring you to realizations of things you are going to allow and not allow anymore in your life, and set boundaries and rules and limits for yourself. So I think it's more better to go through the hardships and whatnot to find yourself. So for me, I talked about this multiple times by now, but just how weird it feels for me to be going through my journey in life and my quote unquote change and ascension and whatnot. When I was a kid, simple kid, I always believed in just doing the right thing. I had an older brother to learn from his mistakes so I won't copy what he does. We both grew up with different personalities. He was more flashy and out there. I was more reserved and calm. So it was my life was just, I felt like it was simple. Go to school, do what I had to do, hang out with my friends, play video games, enjoy myself. When I get older, it's just gonna be like that. I always felt like I was gonna be with my friends. I always felt like I was gonna be with my close people. I felt like I was always gonna be with my family that I grew up with, and I was just gonna keep, things just gonna keep getting better and better from there. And then of course the first time it hit me was when I first moved, and I lost contact with my friends, because social media was just like, it was there, but it was like, it wasn't our end all be all. Like I was having this conversation, like it's the fact that it's weird that sometimes we don't even exchange phone numbers anymore. Like we just like, yo, what's your Instagram, what's your Twitter, and people literally like have probably these lifelong friendships and bonds without once having that person's phone number. And it could be for obvious reason if they're international, of course, but like there's a lot of people, like there's a few people in my life that I know like around the United States that I don't even have their phone number, but we have this great friendship through social media conversations and whatnot. So before I moved, phone numbers and stuff was still the thing. Like, you know, back when we still had to remember our phone numbers at times, and whatnot. I was still dealing with the house phone before I got my cell phone, so I learned about, you know, memorizing numbers and hand patterns to recognize numbers and whatnot. And then we got cell phones, which now you can store numbers in your contacts. Just go to your contact and find the name, and that's that. But then of course texting wasn't a thing, so you know we had to call, and then for certain phone services it was, you know, slippery slope. For me, I had Sprint, and the situation is you can't call another phone provider unless it's like after 6 or 7, unless that you have to like pay extra for that. So I don't know, that's how things work back then. I don't know if that's how things still work now. I don't even think that's something we think about anymore. Like I think that's like in the fine print now, like, oh yeah, just so you know that if you call somebody from T-Mobile with Sprint, you're paying extra, but we're not gonna tell you that, because it feels like a phone bill is always a set thing now. Like, oh, like you're like everything is becoming like a subscription fee. Like it's not even about like what you're paying for no more. Like you got the phone, you got this, you can't do this and you can't do that unless certain requirements are met. Like now it's just like, all right, as long as you got the phone, you're just paying for the service of, you get texting, you get phone calls, you get this much internet service, all for this price. And if you go above that, then you then you pay extra. But most of the time Wi-Fi kind of like knocks that out, and then it's like, yeah, so it's like, pretty much I have not, like, once I got to the point where I started paying like my own phone bill, like not once have I ever like went over, like my phone bill had never went, oh, $10 extra, like what the hell did I do? Like nah, like it's just always, you knew what you were paying from the get-go. Things don't change, so it's like that restriction is not there no more. So it was like real tight on making phone calls and keeping contact with your friends. So that's why outside meant everything to me. Going outside, hanging out with my friends. Like I said, I wasn't really a gamer. Like I was only playing video games when I was like alone. And then that was that. But yeah, so when I moved, like I had like one social media account, but I had nobody, like my friends wasn't on social media at the time, and they wasn't on that one, and then I had to get to another one. I managed to contact a few of them after I moved. One of them thought that I died. I don't know how that happened, but yeah. And then that was that. I haven't talked to any of them since. And then yeah, then it started hitting me like this is not a forever thing, or this is not going the way I planned it. I'm losing my people that I thought I was gonna be with like for the rest of my life, like people I thought I was gonna grow up with. Like, you know, when you hang around with your dad or whatever your older spouse is, and you see them with their homeboys, and you thinking like, oh, they got this like deep friendship, they probably known each other since like high school or whatever, and it's just a long friendship bond. Some of them are like that, and it's like, damn, like, you know, that's what you want. You know, you got your friends that you knew from when you was young, you guys get older, now your kids know each other, and it's just a cycle. But no, that didn't happen. So that started messing with me big time, because now it's like, now it feels like nothing is forever, I guess, and it bothered me. it's just like more things that just keep on going against me and going against what I thought was going to happen in my life is no longer happening. And then like the people that I was cool with, I'm not as close with them, or it's limited times I can see them, even more limited than before. The things that I enjoyed in my life, I'm not really enjoying it no more because I didn't enjoy them the way that I used to. I used to enjoy these things with other people, but now it's like I'm doing it by myself more. So I'm not even enjoying it no more. Like now you're losing like who you was, like you're losing your foundation, you're losing what made you you, and it's just like things don't feel the same no more. And that's when you start questioning your life, start questioning what's going on, and then depression hits, and you become unstable, and yeah. So that's like trying to understand where do you go from here, and that's where people struggle. Like people feel like, you know, I think this is it. Like I lost pretty much everything that was important in my life growing up. I lost what I thought was gonna happen in my life. Like I don't know what to do anymore. And that was it. Like people can give up from that and see like there's no more point in doing things no more. Like you don't even enjoy doing things no more. But it's a long process. When I speak to other people who are going through things and whatnot, it's like I can tell you a lot of things and it sounds simple, but at the end of the day, because you have to go through this, it's gonna still be a long process. Because you still had to make the commitment to yourself, you still had to make the decisions for yourself, you still had to make that choice to be committed to the change that you're about to go through and the change that you want to go through. Because sometimes change is scary. You know, a lot of people don't want to do things that they felt comfortable with, or if they felt, I don't know, it's like people find things that's like coping mechanisms or whatnot, and it kind of traps them into like a cycle, and they feel like if they step out of this, they're gonna like shatter again, because they shattered the last time they lost like that, you know, that firm foundation of what kept them going. So they feel like they lose it again, they're gonna shatter. But they gotta understand the difference, that this is not your foundation, this is just something that you're using to like, yeah, it's not, instead of like something that's holding you up, it's something that you're hanging on to for your life. And it's a moment of like, this can snap and you can fall, or you're gonna have to keep climbing up and stop relying on this one branch from keeping you from falling. So it's like, yeah, you had to really start figuring out like what it is you want to do for yourself and whatnot. Like, you know, just start trying different things. Like, you know, again, this is something I pride myself on, and something I'm a firm believer on doing. Like, explore everything, explore your creativity, explore your outlets, explore different avenues of your life, your brain, you know, everything about you, and see what it is you really enjoy doing. Like, you know, maybe you like drawing, so try it. Maybe you find out you're good at it, maybe you find out you're not good at it, but maybe you find out even if you're good at it or not, you just enjoy doing it. And that's a start. Like, finding something that you enjoyed. Like, oh, I never enjoyed doing this before, but I enjoyed something that's giving me excitement, something that's giving me happiness. Like, this is new, I enjoy doing this. Like, okay, there's something I can keep doing, whether I'm good at it or not. It's like, I just enjoy doing this. It's keeping me going, and finding more things, and then you learn about yourself. Like, oh, actually, you found out that I like doing this, or I found out that I'm good at this. I found out that I like listening to this kind of music compared to what I used to listen to when I was younger. I like watching these kind of movies compared to when I was watching when I was younger. Yeah, even food, like like, oh, just going out. Like, I used to limit myself to eating certain things because of my upbringing. Like, part of my family would eat like just wild things that's like not normal, and I'm like, weird. It's just like going out there and just saying, you know what, like something must be so good about this that they really loving it. Like I shouldn't be holding myself back from doing it. Like unless you have a really, like I said, like some food reaction or something, you should just at least try it. If you don't like it, then you don't like it. But you do, but you know, I've been holding myself back from this whole time. Like you can't, like, you know, you're punishing yourself by, you know, not treating yourself to things in life. Like, oh, it's here, try it. Do you like it? No. Okay, I'll stop. You know, just about exploring all the different avenues in your life and trying to find your new foundation of what it is that sticks to you. And then that's where you go forward from there. And I kind of want to go into my second topic because I feel like I'm going to start branching into it now. So I'm going to go into the second topic and kind of like just put them all together as one now. So for the second topic, I was asked, like, how do you move forward? Well, I'm changing it to how they asked it, but I'm changing it to like, so how do you move forward when you feel like you have nothing? So like I said, so that's going back to like what I was trying to say, like, because I was going to start branching them together and I want to start repeating myself. So like I said, so you feel like you lost everything, you don't know what's going on, and I'm telling you, you gotta find different avenues. You gotta, you know, not cling on to things that you feel like that's keeping you happy, but it's actually just keeping you trapped. And you need to start going out there more and start climbing and moving forward. So it's like taking, I don't want to put people in my life out there without their permission, but it's like, you know, when you go through something bad in your life because you was living one way and things just start going wrong and start going terrible, and then it brings you down to like, you're stripped to just your very essence of who you are, and now it's like, what more do I have left? And then things just start hitting you. Like, I don't know, I feel like when you're at your lowest, something will hit you. And that's what happened to me as well. When I was at my lowest, like, music just hit me. Like, I can do this instead of that. I can do something that's more uplifting to myself than destructive to myself. So here we are, 10 years later of me doing music. It went from being a coping mechanism to something that I actually enjoy doing. Like, I enjoy when I sit there and get inspired to like write lyrics, put them together and just form a whole project together. Like, some people was like when I talk to people, I'm like, hey yo, you like like, you should do this song with me, and they're like, oh, I'm not a rapper, I can't do that, I don't know how to put words together. And I was like, yeah, I was there once too. Like some people aren't like, people feel like, oh, strong, like we enjoy music, we enjoy like projects, like people hold certain projects up like as classic, like going back to Nas as an example, like Illmatic. Man was only 19 when he made just this classic project, and people like, you know, how he does this, like how he was able to do that. And then to be able to do it myself is like, damn, like I've like from track 1 to track whatever I put on there, like I did this, and it's a structured project too, not to make them sound like weird, like, oh, I just put like this really upbeat type song going on. The next song is some sad crying song. Like, you just kind of killed the mood for the people who's listening to this. Like, you got to ease them into the moods. So it's like one of that. Going to podcasting, I mean, listening to podcasts, from not understanding why people do it, why I enjoy doing it, to liking it, and then to like do it yourself. And like now I like, damn, like here I am like freaking enjoying doing this, like just sitting here talking these things out, getting things out there. Hopefully people listen to it, people take something from it and whatnot. Also going into saying, side note, I'm not trying to tell people that I'm like, I know all the answers. I know what you should do and what not to do with your life. You don't have to listen to me. You don't have to take my advice. I'm only just speaking through my experience, and wondering if people are either going through the same experience or people who have gone through the same results to get out their experience. It's just about finding people who can like open themselves up to things. You know, there's something I want to talk about. I wanted to talk about with the guests, so hopefully I can get to that too. But like, it's all right to be able to talk about things and just express yourself. Like, you have a voice, you have a brain, you have your thoughts for a reason. There's nothing wrong with letting them out. Maybe somebody would be real interested in hearing it. So it's a lot of people in the world. Sometimes you only just need that one person to hear you out. Cause that makes a huge difference from just being with yourself, to have one solid person that's like, I really enjoy what you're doing. I support what you're doing. Yeah, but that's really that. So yeah, to move forward when you feel like you have nothing. I mean, yeah, finding yourself is one of the best things to do. Finding what you like, don't punish yourself. Don't hold yourself back from anything. Take chances. Not telling you go do something wild or whatnot, like slow baby steps, like, being a kid who grew up like the typical kid stuff. No, I'm afraid of heights or whatnot. To when I was young, we used to play hide and seek and manhunt, and it used to be one of those like almost anything was a go. And there've been times where dudes were like, there's like little garage roofs, like they'd be climbable, like the right fence is right next to it. We climb on top of a roof and hide on top of there. Like the fact that we can do that, and then it's like, do you know that, oh, if he finds me, he knows how to get up here. So you gotta be cool with knowing that you gotta jump off this roof and run. So like all that height stuff just goes thrown out the window for the sake of you not trying to get caught. From being scared of roller coasters and whatnot, and falling from heights. Went from when I went to Bahamas and we went to the Atlantis water park, and we did the leap of faith. If anyone ever did that, or if you don't know what it is, like Google it. It's just this huge slide down. Like, it's like in the middle of the whole park. It's like a pyramid structure, and it's just one giant fall down. And as you falling down through the slide, it goes underwater, and like you're in a tube the whole time, but it like goes underwater, and it's like a pool. It's like a whole pool tank, and there's like legit sharks in there. Like, so you legitly like sliding past through sharks and going out the other way. And it's like, bro, doing that. Growing up, growing up and raised in Brooklyn, New York. One place that I always visited as a kid was Coney Island, the amusement park. And seeing the Cyclone roller coaster, that was like one of my biggest fears. Like seeing my brother and my cousin go there, and then when they got to the point where like, oh, you're tall enough to go on the ride, you gonna go on there with them? Me, no, I am not. You're crazy. And then of course, fast forward many years later, me and my brother went on there. I went on there for the first time, and it was dope. Like, to go on roller coasters, like, you're just slowly opening yourself up to new things, and just like, oh, this is what I've been afraid of my entire life. It's not that bad. It's actually cool. Another one that was the biggest example, back in like 2001, I want to say, I went to Disney World in Orlando. First ride, bro, not even the first ride, sorry, the first or second ride. Like they were trying to, like, my dad was trying to go strong. Like, he was not trying to ease us into nothing. The first ride, I didn't know anything about it, because I didn't know what was happening. I'm thinking like, this Disney, like, this is a bunch of kids stuff. Like, what terrible can be here? The first ride was you being stuck. Like, we're all in this room. Like, the theme is that we're like in this lab room, and we're all just strapped to the chair, just sitting there. Like it's something that we kind of watch and experience. It's not really like we're moving. So we just sitting there, we're strapped to the chair. And they're like, oh, we're experimenting, and then that freaking monster, like they're experimenting on a monster or whatever, or it mutated into a monster, and then it broke out. And then like they had the sound effects on the chair, like they had speakers on the chair to emulate that the monster was like running around the room, so you hear behind you, breathing behind you. When it was like it killed one of the guys, like it ate him, and like water was squirt on your arm to make it feel like the blood splattered on you. And it was like, they're like, yo, this is my first time at Disney, and this is what you're gonna put me through on the first day. Like just trauma off the bat. But yeah, so the fact that I got over that, like cool. They're like, all right, second ride was the what do you call this? Jeez, I don't know. I know it has a name, I just don't know what to call it. But it's one of those it's the Twilight Zone, like the elevator drop. I noticed a name for it, it's not coming to me, but it's like, so the thing is like you're in a Twilight Zone, like it's like we're in this huge mansion. It's very tall too, very tall. Huge mansion. There's a spooky backstory to like, oh, the family died here, but I guess the spirits never left, whatnot. So we go on the ride. The ride is like we're themed in the elevator, so we strap into an elevator, and we ride for a little bit. We start seeing like little ghost apparitions of people and whatnot, and then we're back into the elevator. We're going up, and then we got to the highest point, and it just drops. So it's just constantly dropping up and down, up and down. When you get to the top, like window will open, and you can basically like see the whole Disney World place, and then it just drops. So you're like, oh, sunshine, nope. So right off the back, like just going there, like they threw me into like just the pit of everything. So like everything after that was just smooth sailing, and it was like cool. So it's like, I don't know, it's like trying to get yourself adjusted to new things. Like you can't be afraid of just like trying something new, because you might end up liking it, you might adjust things better. So now it's like things that you thought you was afraid to do doing, that you can't, like it no longer bothers you. Like this is cool. Like even simple things, like growing up I hated doing like presentations in school, like, oh, I gotta go up, talk in front of people, talk about something. Hopefully I'm not stumbling over my words, I'm not repeating myself. To realizing it's not so much about that, it's so much about the topic that you are presenting. Most of the times I didn't care about none of the stuff I presented until when I had a college class. They kind of gave us the option to just present whatever the hell you want to present. The class was about sociology, so of course it was about social stuff. So it was like, yeah, just present whatever you gotta present, but no longer as it pertains to like social things. So I had a personal experience with like being hacked and whatnot, and knowing like how it feels like when someone hacks your stuff, and that hopelessness and that powerlessness you feel. So I didn't know the fact that I was like interested in like, oh, I can research about this, and I like, I went out there and talked about it. I was like, yo, like, yeah, I'm just talking about it. I'm engaged into the class. I'm like, yo, raise your hand, this happened to you. Like I never really did it. Like when in high school, like just reading off my notes or the PowerPoint, like, yeah, so back in 19 this and this happened. Like I was actually like in there. So like if like, you just, as long as it's like finding what you're comfortable doing to incorporate it. Like I'm like, all right, I got experience with hacking, I'm interested in hacking. We're in an age where it's more easy to be hacked, so talk about this. And it's like I got one of the best reactions like after my presentation, like from everyone. Like everyone got like some decent class, but everyone was like, oh damn, like you actually talking. So like you can't be afraid to just take these risks. It's just about finding what works for you and whatnot. So that's mainly it. feel like I'm gonna go on forever, but yeah, I guess I'm gonna stop it here. Hopefully next episode, because actually it's gonna be an important episode, or a special episode next episode. So I don't know if I'm gonna have a guest or not, actually, because I don't know. We'll see, because I kind of know what I'm gonna like. I guess I'm kind of prepared for what I'm gonna talk about the next episode, but I would like to have a guest. Maybe I can just put them both together, so that makes sense. So yeah. Of course, as always, before we even go, I like to leave with the question of the day. This one is kind of gonna be pertaining to the like how you move forward when you feel you have nothing kind of topic. So I'm not speaking about like time travel or nothing, not one of those. I feel like people shouldn't try to hang on to the past and try to like live on, you know, if I can go back in the past, I would do this differently. I think you should focus on the now. Instead of doing things differently before, just do things differently now. That's it. So my question is, like, when you feel like you had nothing and you feel like you lost everything, but you have the ability to, like, you know, you can start over now, you can find what you like. What would be like one of the first things you would do differently now that you feel like you have this new start in your life? Like, you know, maybe I would, like I said, on an example, I was afraid of swimming. You know what, I'm gonna teach myself how to swim now. I was afraid of heights. I'm gonna start going on like roller coasters. I used to hate public speaking. You know, I'm gonna do music, my podcast, slowly open myself up to talking more. It's just a bunch of things, like, you know, what would you start doing differently now that you have the ability to, like, you know, I can start over now. Like, today is the first day of my new life. I want to do something different now. So what would that be? And yeah, that's mainly it. So of course, again, if you guys like this episode, like the podcast, if you know anyone that's interested in the podcast or these topics, please be sure to share it. Tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your parents, tell your grandparents, tell your siblings, anyone. Yeah, just share it. Rate if you haven't rated on Apple Podcasts. Yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope you guys have a wonderful day and a wonderful week. And I'll see you guys on the next episode. And yeah, peace.